Hello there gorgeous gamers and welcome back to Pure Play TV, and we've got a review for the Streets of Rage 4 DLC, Mr. X Nightmare, a new paid expansion that adds some really cool new features to an already exemplary game. Is it worth the price of admission? Knuckle up and watch on to find out why I think it really is worth a purchase. Streets of Rage 4 is a brilliant game. Sadly, my original review got no love from the YouTube algorithm, so do me a favour, drop a like and a comment once you finish watching to let the Matrix know that this is some bloody good content. Cheers. Right, onto the review properly. The DLC is very good. It's fantastic actually, and what you get for your money is more than fair, depending on where you stand with Streets of Rage 4. If you played it and didn't feel any kind of connection, you probably won't get much from this, but if you are like me and you got goose pimples the first time you played Streets of Rage 4, then you're a die-hard fan and you will love nothing more than duking it out in the new survival mode, which you can lose hours in. Trust me, I've lost hours. Aside from the survival mode, there's also the addition of 3 new playable characters, Max, Estelle and Shiva. To be honest, I think these probably could have been freebies for everybody, and I would still feel like the survival mode was worth the asking price. The survival mode is the main attraction because it's more than just throwing waves of enemies at you, it's basically a game in itself. You have one life and one life only. Once that yellow bar is depleted, the simulation is done and your run is over. Think of it as a roguelike game, because the goal is to get a little further each time, though you can't actually carry over any of the upgrades to your next run. That would have been a nice touch as a survival plus mode, but instead we get a purely one and done experience, which is fine. The goal is to survive for as long as possible against increasingly difficult waves of enemies across random arenas. What I really liked was that these arenas were quite dangerous, or they had some kind of interaction, whether it was conveyor belts on the ground, electric wires along the perimeter, or even just a bit of slippage from the rain and wind. It made the levels feel a bit more alive. And I was able to use those arenas to my advantage by lobbing the bad guys at the danger zones. At the end of each round, you'll be given the choice between a couple of perks, and this is where Streets of Rage 4 survival mode earns its money. These perks are real game changers. Most work in your favour by giving you buffs to your damaging abilities, movement speed, or even giving you an AI buddy to help control the crowds of double denim dickheads. Though some are a little less helpful, instead demanding something in return. So for example, one perk gives you the ability to deal 90% more damage, but you will also take 90% more damage. The kicker here is that you have to pick a perk before you can go to the next stage, and sometimes you'll be stuck with a very difficult choice between which perks to use. Annoyingly though, the survival mode does feel a tad inconsistent. Every few rounds the game will throw a boss at you, and while these rounds are extra challenging, I rarely ever failed during them. I came close, sure, but I always managed to just about scrape through to the next round. Most of my knockouts came from cheap blows from the annoying regular enemies, and this annoyed me to no end. Mainly because I cannot stand those kicking pricks with their hands in their pockets. They get me every bloody time. Those small annoyances aside, I've really enjoyed the survival mode and its replayability is potentially infinite, and with the fairly balanced and challenging perk system, I know that I'll be smashing it for the next few weeks at least. For $8 or £6, survival mode alone is worth ponying up the cash, while the extra characters, weapons and moves are nice additions, but by no means the main attraction. Though I will say, Estelle is, as my nephew would say, OP AF. Use her, she's good. And that is the end of this review. Thank you very much for watching. You're OP AF, probably. I don't know. Why don't you test out your strength by pushing the like and subscribe buttons, see if you can't break your phone. If you did enjoy this video, go on down below, drop a comment. I always try and get back to as many as possible. Go on down to the info box and you'll find our social media channels, website links and our supporters links where you can support the team if you can. I've been Chris, you've been gorgeous, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, bye bye.